exactly what's going on.
K-count. Yeah.
HoneyBunTv.
You making me wanna spend this money, gorgeous, all on you, girl.
Hey honey buns, and what is up? Today we are going to be constructing a corset out of a t-shirt. If you don't have a t-shirt that you want to create a corset out of, fabric is just as fine. Everything you will need is going to be listed in the description box as well as the bottom of this video. First things first, if you are using a t-shirt for this, I like to start with cutting the arms off. So cut them arms off, and right after you do that, you are going to cut the side seams to open that shirt up. If you are not using a t-shirt and you're using fabric, all you're going to do is fold over the fabric hot dog style and make sure it's on fold, which is basically the two pieces on top of each other. And then you are going to proceed to cut your fabric. It is the same way, the same thing still applies. After that, once I put my t-shirt on fold, I already started cutting, but I added a couple of inches more onto my corset to make it a little bit longer. So if you want to do this, all you have to do is add the inches on and it's going to be perfectly fine. After that, as you can see me here doing, I have not cut the cups out yet. I'm just basically cutting the panels out, and it's on fold. So when I cut this out, it's going to be two pieces. But as you can see here, I'm literally just forming how my corset is going to look. I like to double check my work and make sure that all the pieces are cut to aligned and they match and they sync with each other. As you can see me here doing, I'm just pairing everything together how it would look. And I like to do this because once I put each piece on top of each other, when it gets time to sew, it's a little bit more easier seeing, okay, which goes with which, who goes to who, and where goes to where, if that makes sense. So I'm laying them on top of each other properly. Now, when we cut out the cups, the same thing is going to occur. But as you can see, if you can tell on my patterns, I have one cup labeled cup A and I have another cup labeled cup B. Note that the blue and the orange fabric that we seen in the beginning is scrap fabric. So I'm just going to say keep them scraps. But the blue is for the interior. So because the blue is for the interior, everything we did for the t-shirt cutting on fold, you are going to do for that blue. After that, we're going to get ready and prepare to sew. I'm using orange thread due to the fact my bias tape is going to be orange. Now, as you can see, when you are creating a pattern for your corset, there is a back side, of course, because how you going to put the thing on if you ain't got no back? So we are working with the back panels first, as I like to say. So with the back panels, you're literally going to take your top portion, your top fabric, and place it on top of that blue fabric, as you can see me here doing. And the way that I outline my finger, you are going to sew it all around. Here is where the boning comes into place, because the boning is going to give it that structure. Now, I didn't already measure down how long this is, this corset is, which is about 17 inches. So that's how long the boning is going to be. Now, there are two ways that you can install the boning. Now, I gotta stop saying now. So, as you can see here, I just placed that pin to signify how wide my boning piece is, which is approximately ½ inch. I can create the channel by sewing down one area, or I can create that by putting the boning on top of the fabric and then sewing it down over top, which I just showed you in that small video as well. So I chose the first route, which is just sewing the piece down 1/2 inch and then channeling my boning through. I like doing it this way. I don't know why, but I do. After you do that, you're just going to sew on top so that boning does not move. Now we are going to construct the corset, which is taking 2 pieces, the 2 middle pieces that creates the cup, and place them together. And we are going to sew down just on that piece that I showed you. After that, just like how I put them together in the beginning to set aside for later, you are going to take that piece and you are going to sew it down just like how you see me doing here. After that, this is what it should look like. And then you are going to take the interior fabric, which is going to be blue, and you're going to do the same thing. And then we will proceed to sew them together. After everything is sewn, you are going to take your top fabric and you're going to take your blue fabric, and just like how my finger is gliding where it is gliding, you're literally going to sew all around except for the bottom area. Now if you choose to, well, I ain't even going to say choose to, because that's where the boning got to go in at. So you're going to sew around everything except for the bottom. And once you are done, that bottom should still be open. I better not hear that you done sewed at the bottom. But even if you did, you can have a seam ripper or, you know, cut a little bit. I got to get all up in there to make sure that it came out perfect and right. Well, not perfect, but it came out right. It came out cute. Now, after this is where we are going to sew lines down, 2 lines, 1 line on each side of where you can see those seams, because that is where you are going to create the channel to go into for your boning. So now I'm just measuring how long the boning is going to be. And if your boning, say if your corset is like 14 inches, you want to leave 1/2 inch, you know, 1/2 inch at the top, 1/2 inch at the bottom, because you want your boning to go in correctly and perfectly, but not to be sticking you almost. You want to leave a little bit of room. So just like you seen with the cups, as I said earlier, you are going to sew them on a curve. That's why I have A and B, because you need to make sure that when you sew the A is forward and straight up, not forward and straight down, if that makes sense. Because if it is, it's not going to give you that cup portion. And what you are going to do after that, the same thing follows with the blue. You don't want to sew these upside down. That's what I should say. You don't want to sew these upside down, because if you do, it's not going to give you the cup, right? So you're going to match seams up in the middle, and you are going to pin. When you're pinning, when you get to the edge of the cup, you're just going to make sure that the edges literally match. So it should be edge to edge, as you see me here doing right here. After that, you are going to sew around on the inside of the cup. And this portion is optional. You can put the boning in before you sew the cups down and or after. I'm just showing you what it will look like possibly before we get to the end. The back panels that I spoke of earlier, you are going to take them and sew them down. You're going to sew the sides together that don't have the boning in them, as you can see me here doing. Now for this portion, this is optional. If you want to put bias tape under your cup, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. And that's another thing that's also optional in this video. I forgot to say earlier, a bra cup, if you would like to, just adding some padding, which I do recommend. So here you can see me putting some bias tape under that that first cup. And all I'm doing is literally folding it over, and I'm going to be sewing each side. As you can see my finger gliding down, showing you which and how you're going to sew the sides. And you're just going to take your time. After this, you will see me place the bra cup in here after sewing it down. But as you can see here, these are the sides that you are going to be sewing, and you're just going to take your time gliding through. And now you're going to place your bra cup in. And this is just how I do it. This will work for me. And you are going to sew at the top to close that. Now after that, we are going to take our orange fabric again and make some bias tape. How you typically make bias tape is by taking the two ends and meeting them in the middle, and then putting them on top of each other. Okay, and then you're gonna sew it down. I know that was a literal mouthful, but that's gonna be in a whole nother video. Or if you choose to make it semi in a way that's quicker, as you can see me here doing, you're literally just going to sew the bias tape, this little piece of fabric, on top, and then you are going to take the end of it and sew it on the back, which you will see me doing. After that, we're just going to iron it down just a little bit, and then we're going to finish up. And I'm just going to show you a little snippet of how to create the bias tape. It's literally just taking ends of those pieces and meeting them in the middle and ironing them down. But for this portion, to make it faster, to do it fast, you can literally push it on top of the fabric and then fold it over and pin it and sew it on down just like that. And after you're sewing it down, you just want to take your time and make sure that you're gliding it through so nothing is slipping, everything is perfect, everything is going forward. And you are going to get a pen. Oh, I wouldn't recommend a pen. Hold on, I take that back. I wouldn't recommend a pen, but I'm using a pen because ain't nobody finna see that. And you're going to just mark where your grommets are going to go. And after tasting, oh, I must be hungry. After taking your grommets and placing them down, you are just going to take the string and place it on through there. And baby, this is how it should come out. See you, honey buns, on HoneyBunTv next week. Mwah!